Okay, so let's now continue looking at the systems of the human body. So today we are going to look at the nervous system and its organization. Okay, the nervous system and its organization. So we already know that the nervous system is that system of the body that whose function is to coordinate. Okay, yeah, to coordinate body organs, body movements, okay, to uh, to 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 help with how the body homeostasis is maintained. All right, movement of impulses from one part of the body to the other. So that is the nervous system, and we know that the nervous system is one of the most complex systems of the human body. Okay, it is one of the most complex systems of the human body. Now, the main features of the nervous system include the neurons. Remember, the neurons are the parenchyma of the nervous system, and these are the cells that actually carry out the actual function of the nervous system, which is carrying of impulses from one body part to another. Okay, from one body part to another, and then it is made up of other cells that are supportive cells. Okay, that are supportive cells, and these cells are known as glial cells. These cells are known as glial cells. Now, we are saying that neurons are grouped as circuits, like electronic circuits, okay? And these are highly specific combinations of elements that make up systems of various sizes and complexities, okay? They are grouped as circuits. Now, if we look at uh, the remember we are saying that the nervous system is made up of um, one, the glial cells, and two, the neurons themselves. Now the glial cells are further divided, okay, according to their function and shape, and so they are named, they have different names also. So we have um, these glial cells, some of them are found in the peripheral nervous system, others are found in the central nervous system. All right. Now we're saying that, first of all, we have the oligodendrocytes. The oligodendrocytes, okay, these originate from the neural tube. Remember when we were doing the embryology and we talked about the derivatives of all the three germ layers. All right. So we are saying that from the neural tube, that tube that formed after neurulation, okay, from the ectodermal layer, that is where we're going to have these oligodendrocytes coming from. And then we are saying that they are located in the central nervous system, that is in the spine and in the brain and the spinal cord. That is where you're going to find the oligodendrocytes. Their main function is to provide myelination to these neurons, to provide myelination to these neurons. The second glial cell that we'll look at is the Schwann cell. The Schwann cell is also derived from the neural tube, and it has the same function as the oligodendrocytes, but this one is found in the peripheral nervous system. Okay, it myelinates neurons in the peripheral nervous system. And then we have the astrocytes. Okay, we have we have the astrocytes. Now, these astrocytes are they're also derived from the neurotube. They are found in the central nervous system. These have several functions, most importantly being structural support. They support the neurons, okay, providing whatever is needed to the neurons. They repair worn out neurons if the damage is not too much. They form the blood-brain barrier, restricting what should go from the blood to the neurons. They restrict metabolic exchanges, okay, between the blood and the neurons. All right. The other type of glial cell are the ependymal cells. The ependymal cells are the ones that are responsible for the production of cerebral spinal fluid. They are the ones that are responsible for the production of cerebral spinal fluid. These are also derived from the neural tube. The neural tube, like I said initially, remember it comes from the ectoderm. They are also found in the central nervous system. Okay, and these ones they line those cavities, the ventricles of the nervous system, the ventricles of the brain, and so they are the ones that are responsible for production of cerebrospinal fluid. The other cell that you're going to find in the nervous system include the microglia. Microglia are the only cells that come from the bone marrow. Okay, they are they come from the bone marrow. They are the white blood cells of the nervous system. These are the white blood cells of the nervous system. Uh, they have, they are the macrophages of the nervous system. They have macrophagic activity. Okay, so the microglia are uh, the white blood cells of the nervous system. Okay, so we said that, remember when we talked about blood, we said that uh, macrophages are named according to where they are located. So the macrophages that are located in the nervous system are known as microglia. Okay, they are known as microglia. All right. Now, we are saying that the nervous system is divided into two major divisions. It is divided into two major divisions, and these are the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system is comprised of the brain and the spinal cord, whilst the peripheral nervous system is comprised of neurons that are located outside the brain. So all the neurons that are located outside the brain and spinal cord, uh, they are they are found in the that is what is known as the peripheral nervous system. Okay. Now, these include the cranial nerves, those cranial nerves that we'll talk about, as well as all the spinal nerves. These are the parts that form the peripheral nervous system. Okay. Now, cell bodies of neurons form gray matter in the central nervous system and ganglia in the peripheral nervous system. Now, when you look at the brain, it is organized in such a way that you will find that um, the outside, the outside layers of the brain will appear to look gray, okay, grayish in color, whilst the inside will appear to look whitish, okay, whitish in nature. So you're going to find that the brain, uh, the bodies, the bodies of the neurons will form are the ones that are going to form that gray matter. Now, if the bodies of the neurons, they are a group of bodies of neurons in the central nervous system, those that group will be called a nucleus. Okay, in the central nervous system, a group of cell bodies will be known as a nucleus. Okay, whilst a group of cell bodies outside the central nervous system, meaning in the peripheral nervous system, will be known as ganglia. Okay, will be known as ganglia. So the gray matter in the brain is located in the periphery, whereas that in the spinal cord is located in the center. Physiologically, the peripheral nervous system can be further divided into efferent division and afferent division. Now, efferent and afferent, uh, these two words mean uh, afferent means bringing something, bringing, if it's blood, if it's impulses, it's afferent. So those neurons that bring impulses from the peripheral nervous system to the central nervous system, those are afferent neurons. Okay, so they are found in the afferent division of the peripheral nervous system. They are found in the afferent division of the peripheral nervous system. So we are saying that those are found in the afferent in the afferent division of the nervous system. On the other hand, we have another division. Now, before I go to the efferent, remember we are saying that the afferent division is the one that brings impulses from the peripheries, meaning from the skin, from wherever the sense organs are, okay? So these are sensory neurons, the ones that perceive sensation. For example, if somebody touches you, somebody burns you, you get burned, whatever sensation you're going to get, that is going to be transferred from the peripheral regions to the central regions, that is going to be transferred through the afferent neurons, which are part of the afferent division of the nervous system. And so those afferent neurons are all sensory neurons because they are carrying information from the peripheries to the central nervous system. This information is what they have sensed. So these are sensory neurons. These could be neurons from the skin, they could be neurons from the ears, they could be neurons from the eyes, from the tongue, from the nose, okay? All those will be said to be afferent neurons. And then we have the efferent neurons. The efferent neurons may also be referred to as motor neurons. Now, these are the ones that carry impulses from the brain to the peripheral tissues, to what are known as the effector organs. Okay, the organ that is going to do something about the impulse that has come. So, for example, the muscles, for example, the glands. Okay, those are effector organs. So, if we have a neuron that is bringing impulses all the way from the brain or the spinal cord and bringing it to a particular part of the body, like maybe the sphincters, okay, maybe the muscles, all right, all those neurons, they are in the efferent division or the motor division, the one that carries impulses from the central nervous system to the peripheral nervous system. Okay, so now we are saying that let us quickly look at the topography. The topography of the central or of the nervous system. The topography, that's just the divisions, the main divisions of the central nervous of the nervous system. Okay, the main divisions of the nervous system. We are saying that the whole nervous system here is made up of two main components. We have the peripheral nervous system and the central nervous system. The central nervous system, we said, is the one that comprises of the brain and spinal cord. And then we have the peripheral nervous system, which comprises of all the other nerves that are outside the central nervous system. So, for example, the cranial nerves, and the ones that are moving from the brain, going to provide for the face and neck, those cranial nerves, as well as the vagus nerve, which is a cranial nerve, but provides for the viscera, okay, the visceral organs. And so those are peripheral, those form the peripheral nervous system. Now, the peripheral nervous system is further divided into efferent division and afferent division. Like I was saying, the efferent division is the one that is responsible for carrying impulses from the central nervous system, meaning from the brain and spinal cord, to the effector organs such as muscles and glands. Okay, and then we have the afferent division. The afferent division comprises of those neurons that bring impulses from the peripheries all the way back to the brain and spinal cord. And the afferent neurons are the ones that are are the ones that are sensory neurons. Okay. Now, the efferent division, meaning the sensory portion of the nervous system, it is further divided into the motor division of the nervous system is further divided into automatic, okay, and somatic. So the automatic, also, which is known as the autonomic system, and the somatic system, okay, the autonomic system and the somatic system. Now, the somatic system is that system that comprises of voluntary organs. The somatic system is that system that comprises of voluntary organs. For example, the muscles of the arms, the muscles of the legs, the ones that you will be able to move with your uh, with your conscience. You can tell your arm to say, move and get this thing for me, and it does so. And so that means that is part of the somatic system. Okay. And then the other part of the efferent division is the autonomic system. Okay. The other part of the of the efferent division is the autonomic system. The one that um, the one that that operates without your approval. Okay. The ones that operate without your approval, for example, the nervous system that goes to blood vessels, you don't have to tell the blood vessels to be elastic in order to allow blood to pass through. All right. So that is the autonomic nervous system. Now, this autonomic nervous system is further divided into the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is said to be the fight and flight nervous system, whilst the parasympathetic is known to be the rest and digest nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is the one that diverts your energies towards fighting off something that is of immediate danger. So, for example, if you see a lion coming your way, the one thing that is going to happen is that the energies are going to be directed towards the muscles that will help you run away from that lion. So that means that every other thing that may be happening, may be needing energy in your body, for example, digestion, will be stopped for a short period of time in order to provide energies and concentration to the muscles that will need for you to run. All right. So that is the sympathetic nervous system. And then we have the parasympathetic nervous system, which is known as the rest and digest system, which allows for the body, the GIT to work to digest mostly when you're at rest. Okay, so that is the those are the those are the divisions of the central nervous system. Other books or other scholars will also mention the enteric nervous system on its own. Okay, we have the enteric nervous system, which is responsible for controlling the working of the gastrointestinal tract. So you find that the enteric nervous system is the one that is inbuilt in the gastrointestinal tract. So you have, remember when we were doing GIT, we talked about the submucosal nervous system, the myenteric nervous system. Okay, so that is what comprises the enteric nervous system. Okay, that is what comprises the enteric nervous system. Now, the other thing that you need to take note of, the other thing that you need to take note of, the other thing that you need to take note of is that the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, they come from, the nervous system is not just arranged anyhow. It is a well-organized system, okay? Very well-organized system. You remember we said that in the spinal ridge, in the vertebral column, we have those vertebral bones, okay? Those vertebral bones. It is between those vertebral bones that we're going to find spinal nerves coming out of the spinal cord, okay? They'll come out of the spinal canal and move towards the peripheral nervous system. Now, remember we said that the vertebral bones are named according to where they are. We say that the vertebral bones are named according to where exactly they are located. So remember we said that we have cervical bones, we have cervical vertebrae, which are 7 in number. We have thoracic vertebrae, which are 12 in number. We have lumbar vertebrae, which are 5 in number. We have sacral vertebrae, which are 5 in number. And we have coccygeal vertebrae, which are 4 in number. So now, depending on where the nerve is emerging from, that is what that nerve is going to be named after. Okay, so now these nerves, we have the sympathetic nervous system, which comes from the from T1 to L2. So from T1 to L2, this is the only place that you are going to find the sympathetic nerves coming out, okay? From T1 there to L2 to lumbar 2, that is where the sympathetic nerves will emerge from. They are not completely sympathetic, but that is where we are going to find that we have sympathetic nervous system nerves coming from. Okay, and then we have the craniosacral. The craniosacral includes cranial nerves 3, 7, 9, and 10. Okay, 3, 7, 9, and 10. So these ones, and as well as sacral 2 and sacral 2, sacral 3, and sacral 4. These are the ones through which the parasympathetic nerves emerge from the central nervous system. And that is how they are arranged. And then this other one here is just showing us the sensory portion. Receive signals from external environment, from the skin, tendons, okay, as well as muscles and some internal organs, and sends that signal to the central nervous system, and the motor, which is the efferent portion, will now direct these the actions that are to be carried out to where they're supposed to, where they're supposed to be, okay, to where they are supposed to be. So that is what we are saying, okay. So now let us look at the central nervous system in detail. Let us look at the central nervous system in detail. How is this central nervous system organized? How is this central nervous system organized? Now, we are saying that we have the central nervous system, which is made up of the brain and the spinal cord. So when you look at the brain, we have the brain, which is divided into three parts. Okay, we have the brain, which is divided into three parts. We have the forebrain, okay? We have the forebrain, okay? We have the midbrain. The midbrain is supposed to be inside the, so the forebrain is made up of the two hemispheres of the brain. The forebrain is made up of the two hemispheres of, saying that we have the forebrain, okay, which makes up the two hemispheres of the brain, and this is also known as the prosencephalon. We have the midbrain, which makes up what we're going to look at very soon. We're going to look at the midbrain, comprising, um, you know, anyway, which is also known as the mesencephalon. And then we have the hindbrain, which is also known as the mesencephalon. Okay, and so the forebrain is made up of two hemispheres like this. We have the left and right hemisphere, and then in the at the bottom or in the middle here. So if we look at if we look at this picture here, we are looking at the brain that has we're looking at the brain that has been cut in the sagittal plane, okay, in the sagittal plane, so that you're able to look at the medial aspect of one hemisphere. You're able to look at the medial aspect of one hemisphere. So when you look at this, you are going to notice that we have this cerebral hemisphere here, okay, that is the forebrain. And then we have this the midbrain, which is somewhere here, which is going to be known as the mesencephalon. All right, and then we are going to have the pons. All right, and then we are going to have the medulla oblongata over there. This thing, the midbrain, the pons, and the medulla oblongata together are referred to as the brainstem. Okay, together are referred to as the brainstem. Above the midbrain, that is where you're going to find the thalamus, anterior, slightly anterior to the thalamus. That is where you're going to find the hypothalamus, which is going to be connected to the pituitary gland. Okay, so this is how we're going to see it. Above the thalamus, that is where you're going to find the ventricle, the lateral ventricles. Okay, the lateral ventricles. All right, those are where cerebrospinal fluid is formed and flows. Okay, so we are saying that the forebrain, which is also known as the prosencephalon, is made up of the cerebrum, okay, as well as the diencephalon. So if you look at this same picture, we are saying that the cerebrum and the diencephalon will make up, will be the one that will make up the forebrain, okay? So we have the telencephalon and the diencephalon in the middle here. That is what is going to to make up the forebrain. The midbrain, which is also known as the mesencephalon, okay? This one starts from the cerebral aqueduct and goes backwards. The cerebral aqueduct, if we look at the anatomy of the ventricular system of the brain, you're going to see this cerebral aqueduct and where it is. And then we have the hindbrain, which is made up of the pons and the cerebellum, as well as the medulla oblongata. So that is how the brain is uh, made. So if you look at now the ventricular system of the brain, if you look at the ventricular system of the brain, this is what you're going to notice. We have the lateral ventricles, okay? The lateral ventricles, this one is a lateral ventricle and this one is a lateral ventricle. And then we have the third ventricle here. At the third ventricle, that is where you're going to find the thalami on both sides, the thalami on both sides, and that is what we are calling the diencephalon, okay? And then we have the cerebral aqueduct, okay? From the cerebral aqueduct is a narrow passage through which cerebrospinal fluid passes from the third ventricle to the fourth ventricle. And in the fourth ventricle, it goes all the way into the central canal of the spinal cord. So this is the ventricular system of the heart. That is the ventricular system of the heart. And sorry, of the brain. Okay, that is the ventricular system of the brain. Now, we are saying that each the brain is divided into two hemispheres. We have the uh, we have the we have the right hemisphere as well as the left hemisphere. We have the right hemisphere as well as the left hemisphere. Now, these two hemispheres, they can be further divided into lobes. Okay, they can be further divided into what? Into lobes. Now, these lobes for these hemispheres are named according to the, you remember the bones that we looked at, the bones that make up the cranial cavity? Okay, so now we have the frontal lobe here, which is just under the bone that makes up the frontal bone, the bone that makes up our foreheads. Okay, and then we have as you go towards the posterior aspect of the frontal lobe, you're going to find the parietal lobe. The parietal lobe, which is just under the two parietal bones, okay? And then we have the occipital lobe at the back here, okay, which is just under the occipital bone. And then you are going to find on the lateral aspect, you are going to find this wing of the brain that is going to be known as the temporal lobe. Okay, so that is the those are the lobes of the brain. And then as you look at the inside of the brain, we've already talked about the midbrain, the pons, and the medulla oblongata, which is continuous with the spinal cord at the bottom, which is continuous with the spinal cord at the bottom. Okay, so for now, we're going to end here. We will continue next time we meet with the, we will continue next time we meet with the spinal cord.